Welcome to Godolkin University. It's a safe space for you to thrive.
You're not the police. You're not the president. You're not the po. And it's evident.
So maybe you should let me be.
I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna do my thing.
Where did you find that kind of courage?
I'm superhuman, right? We're made of steel.
I'm gonna do my thing.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. They dropped a trailer for The Boys Gen V, so I'll explain what's going on, what the series is all about, all the Marvel, the DC references, because there are a lot of very obvious comics references in this from both big brands. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get the episodes. I will do videos for the series when it premieres next year. But The Boys Gen V is meant to be a spin-off of the main series. That's why you see so many of the main series characters during this. Like, you see a bunch of Homelander. All the people on the show think of him as a god because that's the way that Vought portrays him. There's A-Train wearing the Vought merch inside the Seven's tower in their main meeting room there. There's Ashley. They even have the director of the Vought Dawn of the Seven, which was kind of a Justice League, but also an Avengers Endgame parody movie. The funny thing about that, too, is that they didn't know that Charlize Theron was going to be in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness as Clea when they did that. They did that before she did Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. But it only helps the metaphor, like the whole idea that she's playing this superhero character. It's just that inside the universe of the Vought, she's playing the actress Charlize Theron, like she actually exists canonically in the universe of the Boys now. But her powers in the Marvel universe also manifest as purple, just like Stormfront's powers. The Boys Gen V title stands for Generation Vought, as in Compound V. The series is mostly set at this school, Godolkin University. It's meant to be a parody of X-Men with the school for gifted youngsters like the X-Mansion in the Hunger Games, where the candidates, the classmates, slowly wind up killing each other in a contest, where the winner gets to join the Seven. Like, secretly though, the school is just meant to be a meat grinder testing ground for Vought, used to see if any of the rejects that they discarded earlier have any potential as future assets, or if any of the kids that they thought weren't a big deal at the time when they initially got Compound V, whose powers took longer to manifest or they didn't fully understand their powers when they got them, might actually wind up being legit. Like, Vought is holding a battle royale between all the kids with reject Compound V powers, and the person who graduates and joins the Seven is the one left standing. That's why it seems like throughout the trailer, the tragedies get worse and worse and worse. Like, it seems like the quintessential college experience, but also along the way, things get worse and worse and worse, more and more of them keep dying. There's all the statues of Homelander because he is like their god. I'm sure that'll go well. I'll explain The Boys Season 4 as well because they're in the middle of shooting that too. There'll be a lot of crossover between this and The Boys Season 4. Inside the hallway, you see A-Train's vending machine for his Turbo Rush drink because the university is funded by Vought like most everything else. Like I said, it's a secret testing ground for Vought that they're just pretending is like a regular college. All the warning signs on the doors have Black Noir on them because Black Noir was literally watching them on the DL and would kill any of the kids if they went off the rails or lost control of their powers in a public way, doing anything that would negatively affect Vought. Although in present day, Homelander's killed Black Noir, so Vought has this police force that comes to kill anyone who gets out of line with a bunch of super deterrents. But even though it seems like Black Noir is dead, the showrunner teased that that wasn't the end of the Black Noir character. He could come back the same way that Stormfront came back, like a broken husk, because they're so powerful they can survive almost anything. Even though it seems like he was killed, he could survive that. Or he could come back as a hallucination in Homelander's mind because he's going crazier and crazier as the series gets on, which I think is more interesting. Because he thought of Black Noir is this great friend of his, so of course he'd feel remorseful about having killed him. He even seemed like he regretted it while he was doing it. There's a whole bunch of new characters, obviously, they introduced, like the actual kids that have powers who will be attending this school, battling it out for a place on the Seven. One of the new main ones is called Marie M. She was featured during The Boys Season 3 at Red River Institute. You might remember that was Vaught's special school for the Compound V children that they felt like were failures or that the parents couldn't handle because their powers were too great or too out of control. You actually see her go back to that school during the trailer with the knife in her hand. It says that Vought created it in the 1960s. That could be a lie because I think the idea is that Stan Edgar created it and was looking to mine any potential assets from it. That's how Huey found out about Victoria Newman, because he was snooping into her backstory and found out that she'd been dumped there as a child because she'd accidentally killed her parents, so they treated it kind of like an orphanage, like Vought's orphanage for superhero kids. And at some point during her childhood, Stan Edgar realized her potential and raised her like his own daughter, training her to be just as much of a player as devious as he was, which is why he seemed so bemused when she stabbed him in the back, betrayed him to Homelander. That's why it seemed like he was proud that she did that, even though it affected him negatively. Like, the student has become the master. It wasn't that she hated Stan Edgar, it was that she wanted to protect her daughter, who's now her Compound V daughter, because it was all about Homelander bringing them the Compound V, the permanent Compound V, and because she used that to become Senator Robert Singer's running mate as vice president. I've already talked about all the Supernatural Easter eggs because obviously the Robert Singer character is played by an actor from Supernatural. They had Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy during Season 3, and they're going to have Jeffrey Dean Morgan during Season 4. I don't know who he's supposed to play, but Jeffrey Dean Morgan will be a character during Season 4. She and Robert Singer will probably win the presidency during Season 4, though. Don't know what Ashley is doing during this trailer, but I love that she seems horrified by what she's seeing because that's kind of her vibe. There were a couple references during Season 3 that Ashley secretly wanted to be a good person, like she did a couple good things, but she did ultimately want to keep her position inside Vought, so she was continuing to uphold status quo. Probably one of the other biggest WTF head-jerking moments during the trailer is the puppets. There are a couple different types of scenes with puppets that I think are meant to be completely different things. Like you have Jason Ritter playing what looks like a Mr. Rogers parody character with a puppet version of the Deep on what seems like a Vought-funded version of Sesame Street in this universe. I love that the puppet has a 5 o'clock shadow in the gills. The Avenue V stands for Avenue Vought. It's both an Avenue Q reference and a Sesame Street reference. I think the idea with this particular cartoon is that it's one of Vought's children's programs that the little kids are meant to watch, and it's their way of selling products, indoctrinating little kids. Like getting all the little kids of the world to worship the Seven, and also really just get them hooked on buying Vought merch. Remember, at least up to the events of Season 2, Stan Edgar's long-term plan was really just to use Vought as this money-making machine for merchandising purposes. Like that was the whole reason that they used Compound V, create superheroes so that we could use them to profit from. The big change, though, is that during Season 2, Stan Edgar said, we're going to become more of a core pharmaceutical company because we can earn way more money selling this temporary Compound V to the military than we can through merchandising. So up to this point in history, they're meant to be the most evil version of Disney you could possibly imagine. Imagine all the Marvel movies if Marvel actually created those superheroes, but only did it so that they could create all the Disney merchandise, all the Disney movies that they make. Then suddenly Disney pivoted and said, no, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to become more like Pfizer. But then you have this completely other scene where there's a puppet killing someone in a really graphic way. It seems like it's a totally different type of scene, like someone's hallucinating it and it's not from the Avenue V TV show. They wouldn't be putting this in a children's television show, so it's probably somebody hallucinating it. You might recognize Patrick Schwarzenegger. I don't know what his powers are going to be. He said that he told his father, Arnold Schwarzenegger, about what was going on with the show because Arnold Schwarzenegger did all those 80s, 90s, even present-day action movies. And he said the Arnold just could not believe it. What is going on with this show? He tried to explain The Boys to Arnold Schwarzenegger, and even Arnold Schwarzenegger couldn't believe it. The very dark, funny moment here with the Vought police force dragging the person in sweats is them taking whoever this is with powers back to their dorm room / prison cell, because that's kind of the whole vibe of this university, is that it's a testing ground. These are meant to be holding cells for the people with superpowers. They're just making it seem like it's a university and this is a fun quintessential college experience, when really this is just a really complex experiment that Vought scientists are running. You probably recognize Chance Perdomo. He's been in a bunch of stuff recently. There are a couple of familiar actors throughout this. And they only say the release date is during 2023 in the trailer, but given the timing for when they release first trailers like this, usually that means the next 6 months. So I'm assuming this is going to release episodes in the summer next year sometime. The Boys Season 4 will either release at the end of next year if they can finish it in time, or early 2024. The whole thing with The Boys Season 4 is that now Homelander has seen that he can literally do anything and his fans will love him no matter what. No matter how terrible he is, they will still love him. And that was what he was worried about before, but now the chains are off, so to speak. Oh, I can actually do anything. If you didn't pick up on it during Season 3, it is meant to be a total culture war metaphor. Ryan's brain kind of broke a little bit because of what he went through. He wanted some kind of normalcy, he wanted a family so badly that he did these mental gymnastics that a lot of children living in abusive households do, where they believe that that kind of behavior is normal around them. He saw Homelander being terrible and then getting all this love from everyone, so his brain did the mental gymnastics to say, oh, no, that's normal, that's the way you're supposed to act. You don't have to hide who you are. You don't have to hide your powers. And season 4 is really like the battle for Ryan's soul. And the problem now is that Butcher, who's still trying to do right by him, is just as bad as Homelander in reality, and everybody hates him. He's just terrible in the opposite direction, like they're two sides of the same coin. Both of them are terrible people, headed for mutually assured destruction. But I think the idea is that Butcher will eventually try to do something that will really save Ryan, and he'll be the person to ultimately kill Homelander. Like, Butcher, even with the temporary Compound V jacking him up, won't be enough to kill Homelander because he's meant to be so powerful. If it wasn't clear, there's no kind of powers workaround for Homelander. He is meant to be nigh unkillable, invincible in the Boys universe. That's how powerful he is. So nobody is meant to be able to go toe-to-toe with him in a prolonged fight, except for maybe Ryan. That's why ultimately, in whatever final season the Boys winds up doing, I don't know how many seasons it'll wind up running, it'll be Ryan to be the one to have to kill him. But if you spotted any other Easter eggs during the trailer that I didn't talk about in the video, or if you have any big questions about the series, just write them in the comments below. We'll get another trailer in a couple more months. There were a bunch of other trailers this past weekend because of CCXP Brazil Comic Con, so I'll try to do videos for everything. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of that. Click here for my Guardians of the Galaxy 3 trailer video, and click here for my brand new Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania Kang video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.